Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Wizard Weekly, where we bring you news and humor from around the spiral. You can kiss your chances of ever finding a server with perfect status goodbye as witches and wizards flood into the spiral, finally liberated from school for the summer. Just in time for this influx of young wizards is the latest release by KingsIsles. Drumroll please! Ta-da! The Sultan's Palace. This hubba hunk of desert property comes with a new mega bundle released by KingsIsles and is complete with multiple levels of Sultan's garb, a selection of unique new wands that play a little ditty every time you cast a spell, a new flying carpet mount, the Choo Choo Zoo minigame, and a new pet snake in a basket that has some pretty sweet stats and is a pedigree of 62. The Arabian castle itself comes with a battle arena and your own personal genie that you can use once a day. This isn't all though, but I'm not going to spoil the surprise for anyone. This epic bundle is available at GameStop stores across the country already and will cost you $39. Make sure you call before you visit the store, as not all of them may be carrying it yet. So, have you guys ever recorded an entire PvP match only to find out that your film capture software was focused on another window? I sure have! I was going to show you the epic battle between Noob and Turkish Monkey that I managed to sneak into, but instead you're just going to have to look at my to-do list for 3 minutes. Just kidding! The Wizard Central 200th tournament is quickly drawing to a close with some wizards in the finals already, and I'll attempt to actually bring you the coverage this time on fights as they go down, so make sure you keep an eye on the roster to see who's going to hit it big and who's going to strike out. If you're looking to strike out on an adventure, you may want to head to the house of Trevor Mythstone, who is our feature in this week's Better Homes and Gardens. As soon as you enter Trevor's house, you face his ultimate security system. His tiger mount patrols in front of the spiral door for any unwanted guests, and if any invaders do make it past, they must brave their way through the Medusa Field, where the less fortunate thieves and attackers remain petrified in stone forever. On the far side of the field is Trevor's garden, right next to a small graveyard where he's buried those who ended up lion chow. Trevor's always tweaking and upgrading his security system, as you can see here. Once past all the security measures, you can relax in his plain Roman-style bath. If swimming isn't your thing, Trevor hosts events and parties inside his mythical home, with a great big open ballroom complete with mechanical servants to wait on his guests. Looks like they're in sleep mode. We should poke 'em. Ow! If the ballroom is too crowded for you, you can always retreat to a Celestial Lounge, which has some of the finest decor the sunken world has to offer. From there you can sneak into his kitchen and crafting room with, ice cream. Above it all sits Trevor's throne overlooking the festivities below. Not too far away are his beloved pets, who can romp around freely or just snooze the day away in their shark hut. Trevor's bedroom is our last stop on this tour. His bright decor, colorful bed, and whimsical wallpaper make it quite cheerful. Trevor's house is truly something to behold, where his welcome guests can party hardy and his not-so-welcome guests can, not. For this week's glitch, I'll be using a simple push technique to light a walkway, but not constrict people's movements through it. You can use this technique to push items into walls, off to the side of paths, or into places they wouldn't normally be able to go. Now see how that floor brazier is kind of hanging out into the middle? It kind of bottlenecks my guests when they arrive. Well, I don't want it to do that, so I'm going to find my tatami mats from Mushu. There they are. I'm going to place them end to end, just so they're touching. I'm going to put the brassiere on the end of the closest mat and use that mat to move it around. I guess that's good. I'll play with it later. Use the furthest mat to rotate both mats out from underneath, and in the same motion pick it up. See how it's kind of hanging off the side like that? While it's not too much farther than it normally would be, it is a little farther. It gives my guests more room to walk through, and they don't have to worry about their clothes catching on fire, which is, you know, wonderful. I'm gonna stick a second one out here real quick just to show you how easy it is. Here we go. Oh, too far. There. Now, as you can see, I've lit up my walkway, I've contrasted serene waters with roaring fires, and, you know, none of my guests are gonna break a sweat walking through here. You guys really had me breaking a sweat this week trying to answer your questions, though, and Ramses II returns to rack my brain with his. Do you think Wizard 101 is simple enough for younger players? You did mention after your question that you'd bumped into quite a few confused individuals who didn't know about stats, gear, the bazaar, and whatnot, and I've run into my fair share of these folks too, but as I speak with the vast majority of these guys and gals, I come to realize that they simply have not stopped to read the things they needed to. Merle Ambrose, I said it right this week, Merle Ambrose walks you through the very basics before you can even enter Wizard City. Diego summons you to him at level 6 and practically holds your hand through learning everything you're going to need to know to get through the rest of the spiral. And, you know, now there's a flashy arrow thing that leads you to your very first quest, and it introduces you to quest tracking, which is automatically switched on when you start a new character now. I mean, this game really couldn't get that much more simple. I believe the people you're encountering are those who weren't paying attention when they needed to because they wanted to hurry, and now it's come back to bite them in the hiney. It sounds as though Scarlet Doomstaff has been bitten by the curiosity bug when she asks, do you think KingsIsles will raise the level cap on pets to higher than Epic? It's a hard call there, Scarlet. I'll be honest. On the one hand, if KingsIsles did raise the level cap on pets to, let's call it level awesome. If KingsIsles raised the level cap on pets to awesome, they would be more on par with their owners 10, maybe 20 levels down the line. It would give pet fanatics something more to do, it would bring in more crowns to KingsIsles, and it sounds like everyone would be happy. However, you have a few problems with this method of advancing pets, and the most prominent of which is lower level imbalance. Imagine a level 20 wizard running around with a piece of gear meant for a wizard that's level 70 or even level 80. Imagine going against them in PvP. That wouldn't be very fair, and it wouldn't be much fun either. KI would have to somehow gate these pets. Maybe allow you to level them up to level awesome after a certain level of your own, but that's just it's kind of weird and impractical if you think about it. I think we may see the introduction of new pets that are just more powerful than their predecessors, or maybe we'll see level awesome on a very select number of pets in the future. It's really anybody's guess, though, what KingsIsles will do with pets in the future to make them more appealing at higher levels, if they do anything at all. The Army of Squirrel writes in with our next question, asking, do you think Wizard 101 will be around in 20 years? Even if KingsIsles is no longer updating it, I do believe Wizard 101 will be around at least 20 years from now because it is such a versatile and such a fun game. There's a little something for everyone. They have not one, but two really cool story arcs going on right now, and yes, I think we will be seeing the Coven again sometime in the future. If questing and dungeoneering isn't your thing, you can PvP, or you can do pet derbies, or just level your pets, and you know, if you want to just chill, you can sit around in the commons and just watch the spiral turn. Wizard 101 has a fantastic community. It's a very vast community, and as long as those people who make the game what it is are interested in it, I think they will have absolutely no problem maintaining themselves for 2 more decades. What makes Wizard 101 so appealing, I think, is that it's still a children's game. Despite the fact that KingsIsles has an incredibly diverse audience now in terms of age, they haven't caved in and marketed to that. They've stuck to their roots, they've maintained a very safe, simple, and fun environment, and that is what makes it so lovable. You don't have to do months of grinding and watch 3 different videos to get a boss down. You don't have to rely on 24 other people to have done the same thing. You aren't pressured to level up at all. And there is absolutely nothing in this game that would breed any sort of hostility towards another player. There are no faction divides to split people between, and it makes Wizard 101 a very, very fun, enjoyable, and unique experience that I think will carry it into the future. Finally, our last question comes from our KingsIsles? Sorry if I mispronounced that, but they ask, do you think KingsIsles will ever make a balance prism? No, I don't, and let me tell you why. First and foremost is, balanced students don't need it. They have traps and blades that work with every school. They have elemental wild card spells that they can hit their opponent with if they don't feel like using an out-of-school spell. Sure, you can't use Judgment and you can't use Raw, but it's not like you're locked into using them. You have Hydra and Spectral Blast at your disposal, and while they do take a little longer to set up, they can still be quite powerful, especially in situations when you're facing an opponent that's also balanced. Secondly, what would this Balance Prism convert the spell to? Balance has no counter. You could convert it into a random element school spell every time you use it, but this may bring up more problems because balance is infamous for shields, and if you're facing a balance NPC, they may have already shielded for whatever you're about to hit them with, and you're actually in a worse position than you would have been if you just cast a balance spell at them. Finally, other schools get prisms because they have to face school-specific shields for 70-80% damage reduction, and that is something a balanced student doesn't even have to worry about. There is no balance shield. The only shield that a balanced student has to worry about is Tower Shield, and even then, if you're playing your cards right, it shouldn't be a problem. This makes Balance Prisms so incredibly situational and almost trivial that creating them would be a waste of KingsIsles' time. That's all for this week, friends. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to watch us next week. Just a notice before I wrap this up, I forgot to mention in last week's video that the Better Homes and Gardens forum for next month would be closing this week, so I've extended it to this Sunday. If you'd like to get your house entered into Better Homes and Gardens for next month, please post them there. There's a link below every single one of my videos, and I really can't wait to see them. If you're not picked this month, there's always next month, so keep trying. Happy weekend, everybody! Happy summer vacation to all those witches and wizards out there. Enjoy yourselves and stay safe.
See, all you gotta do is rub that lamp, and I'll say, Mr. Aladdin, sir, what will your pleasure be? Let me take your order, jot it down. You ain't never had a friend like me.